This is a podcast presented by
Hard to Find Media.
Subscribe to Hard to Find Media on youtube.com/Hard to Find Media Network. This shit is free. Share it. Blast it.
It's Tady's Day
Boy, we were excited. You can sense it.
He had a whole block of brie last night. That's really nice. Coming back to get him.
What it would be like to be not on a Ferris wheel, but a great wheel.
So we are now rotating.
So how do you feel about buskers?
I'm pretty into buskers.
You are.
I am.
Here's the deal with salads.
We'll get to the baking of a cake.
It's a little boring, kind of.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tady's Day Out. I am, of course, your host, Joe Tady. For those new listeners out there, this is a show that attempts an irreverent and comedic review of all the best attractions Seattle has to offer. Meaning each episode, me and a friend or two go out and try to experience one of the most iconic touristy, places that are synonymous with Seattle. The Space Needle, the Mopop, Great Wheel. In this episode, we did one of the biggest of them all, and one of my favorite places, which is Pike Place Market. And we'll get to that episode in just a minute. I decided to try something a little new this week, which is an intro by myself. I feel like I've been rushing through the intro and just kind of getting, straight to the episode, which is nice, but I want to spend some time talking to you guys, the listener. First off, I just want to say thank you so much for listening and the support. I've gotten some ratings and reviews on iTunes, and you guys have just been really great, and I really appreciate that. If you haven't yet, you can subscribe on iTunes. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. The Instagram is just going to be like kind of funny live videos or photos of the actual outings themselves. The first one I have up now is of an upcoming episode to the Space Needle. So yeah, you can check those out. That's just a little extra peek behind the curtain. That this isn't very mysterious at all, but yeah, you can follow along there. I think it'll be fun. Okay, let's get to the episode this week. Like I said, it's Pike Place Market, and it's with my friend Carrie Gill, who is absolutely one of my favorite people. So I really hope you enjoy it, and I will see you next week with another episode. Carrie, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Joe Tady. It's lovely being here with you today.
How the hell have you been?
I've been great.
Yeah, we went to the Pike Place Market together. Are you ready to talk about it?
Sure am.
Cool. Before we get to it, let's talk a little history. I bet you
subject.
don't. Is it?
It is actually.
Oh, really?
Yes. Fun fact.
We've never talked about that. I feel like maybe we should.
We can delve into the
Right. But before that, so the market. It opened on August 17th, 1907, and is one of this nation's longest continuously running farmers markets. Isn't that interesting? It's like kind of interesting.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. It is interesting that it's been around for over 100 years. For people who, for some reason, don't know what the market is, it's down on the water of Seattle, looks out over the Elliott Bay, which leads into the Puget Sound, and it's a multi-level, like some of it is sort of underground in the hillside of like that Western Avenue area. It has a bunch of different types of shops, has a lot of amazing produce setups, lots of seafood, actually very famous for its seafood.
Very famous.
We'll get to the fish throwing in a minute. It's very touristy, lots of knickknacks, stores that you don't understand how they stay open because
the underground part is more of like a little bazaar.
You're right.
In there,
Yeah. As in like B-A-Z.
Yeah, B-A-Z. Yeah.
How bizarre. That famous song. I think that's about the Pike Place Market.
How bizarre.
Yeah.
How bizarre.
Exactly. There's restaurants, there's antiques, there's a lot of flowers, and one of my favorite comic book stores in the city because it's one of the only ones in the city. So yeah, we started our morning, met at my place. We took a lift down there and got some coffee.
Needed that coffee.
We really did. We were dragging ass.
Dragging ass. It was a long day yesterday.
Yeah,
kind of, just a little important blimp in history.
Yeah. It's did you say a blimp in history?
Just a blimp.
Yeah. This is man. I'm worried I'm going to be just a blimp in history.
Not a blip.
Yeah,
A blimp.
not a blip. Yeah, you marched yesterday.
I did for 14 miles.
That's so exciting, and thank you. I was unable to make it, and I actually feel weird liberal guilt about it, and I feel like I'm so thankful for Amy, my girlfriend, marched, like my friends. I feel like it was such an amazing day.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible, really surreal. Over like 150,000 people in Seattle alone.
Yeah.
Hearing millions
Yes.
around the entire world.
Yeah.
All 7 continents, as you told me earlier.
No, yeah, and you told me.
Antarctica.
Yeah, Antarctica.
On the boat. Got the signs, all the things.
That's
Protest.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool, very exciting. It just makes me love Seattle all the more.
Yeah, we're in a nice little bubble around here.
Yeah, it is the bubble.
It is
so,
the bubble.
But
it feels good.
yeah, I'm glad to be in the bubble, I think. I don't know. Pros and cons. That's for another podcast.
Sure
This
thing.
isn't democracy now. This is Tady's Day Out.
Tady's Day Out.
So it was raining when we set out. So we got a lift down there. Also because, like we said, you marched yesterday and then worked a long day.
And wore new boots, which was really smart of me.
Right.
So,
Right. Hey, breaking
there's
them in.
that. Breaking
Yeah.
in. Did a really good job of breaking them in.
So we got in this car, and there's a sweet lady driving, and I don't know exactly how to explain this. I'll just say she sort of cut someone off when she took a left turn, but not
But a
really.
really delicate cutoff. It was very soft.
Because
and
he was
kind of
fully...
just-
It was confusing because there was someone crossing the street, and he got out of her way, but he wasn't out of this guy's way. I can see, like, maybe it wasn't the right thing to do, but it was, like... There was... No one's life was endangered at all.
No.
Everything was moving very slowly, and or everyone was stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on the residential streets of Capitol Hill, so there's cars parked on either side. It's not a lot of space. And he just starts slamming on his horn, and zooms past her and gets in front of her. And you can really see him in the mirror there, like shaking his fist, and he's obviously yelling something. We don't know
shaking his
what it
finger,
is.
doing something.
And maybe flipping us off, but I couldn't tell. And we sort of just started waving, like, and...
Giving him thumbs up.
Yeah, I knew he was upset, and I'm just like, dude, get over it. It's not a big deal at all. And we end up pulling up right behind him at the intersection of Denny and Bellevue, and he's going after it. I mean,
He's pretty aggro.
furious.
He's like ready
Yeah,
to fight.
and all of a sudden he opens the door to get out, and I am ready. I'm like,
He's coming out.
He is not bullying this old woman for some small thing. Because she was like, "What is with this guy?" And so I opened the door too, and I'm like, I think I said something like, "Oh, I don't know." I said something very stupid, like I'm ready. And I opened the door too, and he immediately shut his door. He was getting out until I opened my door, and so I think like you said, he may have realized he wasn't sure what he was getting into.
Yeah, I think he was like,
Oh, that car has 3 people in it.
maybe I'm outnumbered.
Yeah, and that guy is getting out with a lot of enthusiasm.
Right.
And I was like a little bummed, even though I wasn't going to fight him. I just wanted to be like, I wanted to get out with a lot of like intensity, but then just be like, what are you doing?
Right?
Like, calm down, buddy.
Hey,
like,
guy, do you need to talk?
Hey, it's Sunday morning. Like, and like, I don't know, just figure it out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was pretty. Yeah, and after like the love fest of yesterday, I just want to be like, man, like no big deal, bro.
Right?
But so that really got us pumped. For
It
for
really
that.
did.
Yeah, it really got us
really
like
set
pumped
us
up.
up on the right foot.
Exactly. So the first place, I've gone to the market a lot, and I think you have as well.
I have. That's kind of like a staple whenever friends come into town. Let's go to the market.
Right, and I actually always look forward to it.
Same.
Especially saving it for that. It's fun to revisit some of my favorite places. When I first moved into the city proper, I would have like Saturday mornings off, and I never really had anything to do. So I would like go down to the market and get comics, and I would always go to Don and Joe's Meats and get Landjäger, which are $1.75 each. For those who don't know what that is, it's this German. It's called a German walking sausage.
Your street meat.
It's
walking
street
down the
meat,
street.
yeah, and it's like this like dry. It's not quite. It's like bigger than jerky. It's so good. But they were closed today.
Yeah, that was a real bummer.
That was a bummer. I was not happy about that. I highly recommend go. It's right in front of the Pig, where people always take their photos.
That pig. We didn't get a photo today.
Yeah,
Next time.
Photos I've found are not good for the podcast.
They
don't translate.
They don't translate very well.
Yeah.
We could describe it.
That's true. There we were, not getting meat at
On
Donald's.
the pig.
Yeah.
Riding the pig instead. But we did have a little surprise, though, a little bit later on with the, how do you say it?
Landjäger?
Landjäger.
Yeah. It's like...
Landjäger. It's like Jaeger.
It's like
but not
Jägermeister.
liquid. It's
yeah. Jaeger
lamb.
is a word for, it's like a... Fuck, I used to know what it means. It's in a... Yeah, it's German. Yeah, we did go into another German shop later, and this woman was like, "Hey, how can I help you?" And I asked for Landjäger, and she like turned on that German accent. I was like, "Yeah, das Landjäger is over there." Yeah, it was, but
It was great. That was the perfect impersonation of her.
Thank you.
Yes.
So my first hotspot, Don and Joe's Meats, didn't quite work out.
That's okay.
But then we hit up Tenzing Momo, which is sort of also near there. And I love this place. It's really comforting to go in there. I always get nettles there for nettle tea or skullcap, which for those of you who have trouble sleeping like I do, skullcap is really nice to calm you down. You can get incense. You can get whatever you want there. It's this weird hippie shop back in the corner.
And it was really cheap, too.
Super cheap.
It was affordable to go in there.
Nettles you actually get from the side of the road. Nettles are like literally nettles that like...
True.
Like when you're like hiking, you're like, ow, that fucking hurt.
Yes, I actually have fond memories of that, and by fond I mean bad.
Yeah.
As a child, walking through.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the nettle it poked me again. Walking home, getting home, having to pick nettles out of your skin.
God, you're really lost in reverie right now. Thinking about your childhood.
Reverie.
But so there was a guy in there who was maybe who sold us the nettles.
Yeah,
was, like,
he was the
sweetest guy.
Man.
Talking about how he's bad at pool, but it doesn't matter, and because you were talking about how you were bad
I played
at
pool last night, and it was not my best game.
Yeah, I wouldn't guess it was your best either.
Not my best game.
He was just very supportive. He was like, hey, as we were leaving, he goes, hey, next time we play pool, doesn't matter if you win or lose, just like have a great time. And you were just like,
I'm like,
thanks,
what?
old man.
Thanks. Great,
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Really giving me that.
So now it just made me want to go back there more often. Hadn't been there in a while.
Yeah. Oh, and he told us to have a blessed day. That was very kind of him.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
I generally don't like, because I feel like when people say have a blessed day, they're trying to create an opening to talk to me about religion, which isn't my favorite thing. But
I may share those same sentiments with you.
it didn't feel like that. I felt like, man, he just wants good
us
things
to
for
have
us.
a really blessed day.
Yeah.
Like, really, just go out there, do your thing, let things happen.
Exactly.
It'll be blessed.
Exactly. So we sort of just, strolled around.
Did a lot of walking. Didn't get any free samples, which was
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of a bummer.
So we walked up and down, just saw our old favorite, the beautiful flowers that are always there. We looked at leather belts.
We did.
We looked at them and we're like, Carrie went from, I think I'm going to get a new leather belt to, those belts are expensive in like 10 seconds flat.
That happens often.
They're handcrafted. They're handcrafted.
They are. Expensive
is relative.
It is relative. For
Expensive to
me,
me, too.
I can't afford it,
Right.
but it doesn't mean that it's not worth
How much
that
did you
in
say
its
you make
quality.
a year?
What? Let's go there.
Yeah, let's
No.
go there. So we walked up and down. We went over to we were also gonna go get hot spice cider. We were like, oh, that's cool.
We were
$5
$5 for 8 ounces.
That's the thing. When you live here, it's not like you're not like, oh, I'm gonna get this because I'm only gonna be here this time.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I'm never gonna get this because I want to have $5 for more than just
For
one
living.
cup of thing. Yeah. We saw the original Starbucks.
We did.
Which people are just snapping a ridiculous amount of pictures of. which it looks like every other Starbucks.
It does.
To
When
me.
was that built?
I believe-
We haven't figured that out yet.
I think
Not
it was
in 1907.
yeah.
Definitely not.
I believe it was like 1980 or something.
Okay.
There wasn't as long of a line as usual.
No, there wasn't. I
Because
wonder why that is.
when I first brought up doing this podcast to one of my friends, he said, "Oh, our thing can be going to the original Starbucks," and I was like, "I don't know. That's just going to be
I mean,
us
that's
standing
like-
in line."
Yeah.
And it's like just us getting coffee. So I wasn't that into it, but I was impressed that there wasn't that much of a line now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we still didn't go in.
No, we
'cause
didn't. We still just kind of meandered around
Yeah,
the
meandered.
edges of it.
And we saw some of these like we said, we went to that German shop. There was this like Mexican grocery store.
Yes.
That's down there that I wish I could remember the
I counted.
name.
There's about 567 different types of hot sauce.
Dude, so many hot sauces. So many hot sauces.
So many. All of the hot sauces.
Dude, and it's just so pretty much any sort of like anything you kind of want is down there, which I love, and I wish I could actually remember the name of this place so I could give it a plug, but apparently
sure.
I'm not that. I don't have that much.
Well, we were
foresight.
talking about that most of the stores we don't actually remember what they're called.
True. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's Michow, which is one of my favorite delis, which is apparently closed.
Closed. Bummer.
For-
Temporary.
Yeah, they're temporary closed for
Temporary
renovation.
closed.
I love signs like that.
Me too.
So one of my favorite things about walking down that side is there's always that really beautiful, gorgeous produce stand right on the corner there.
Don't even get me started on
Don't
produce.
get Carrie started on produce.
I got a thing for the produce.
Yes, Carrie gets stimulated by produce.
Oh, sure do.
And there's usually a bunch of people handing out slices of apples or pears, but not this time. Literally, right as we were walking up, he hands out a slice to someone else, and then as we were about to pass, he puts it down.
And then
and
the
walks away
other
from
woman
it.
has an orange in her hand,
Yeah.
and she cuts off a slice right as we're walking by and puts it in her
Yeah,
own
and then
mouth.
eats it, and then turns back and goes in the back, and I was like, because I was like, oh, it's our second chance.
We're gonna make it.
Fuck, man.
We
That
did.
that made me sad. I had low blood sugar. But, you know, so it's really fun to just get out there and see the different people. I don't know. Even if you don't want, you can. It's a really fun place to go, even if you don't want to spend a bunch of money. Like, I'm pretty broke right now, but it's really fun to go and like get a cup of coffee and just hang out and people watch, because everyone in the world is going through that stupid market.
Yeah, it's a nice little melting pot. there.
Yeah. And there's just the best parts about Seattle are down there, like Left Bank Books, which is this really awesome anarchist bookstore that's been there, I think, since the late 70s. I could be wrong. And it has every type of book you could ever want. And it's really cool to have that right in the epicenter of one of the most touristy spots in the world, I guess. Just to have people walk into that store and be greeted by, like, books about, queer trans history or, struggles of all sorts of different people. That's like also what makes me love Seattle so much. I really love doing the touristy things in Seattle, which
Oh yeah, for sure.
you may notice because I started a podcast about it.
No way.
But I don't like other places. It bums me out. It feels like weird commercialism.
Mm-hmm.
Like in New York, I never really got into. I'm like, I don't want to go to the top of the Empire State Building. Like I don't care about that shit. But here, it's cool because it still feels like it has a point to the city. Like except for, if you listen to the Great Wheel episode that I did before this, it's a little stupid. But other things, at least they have some sort of like worthwhile output into the city. So
We were talking about the Space Needle earlier too, and I just remembered a fun fact about it is that it was built during one of the World's Fairs.
that's right.
Which is really neat.
Yeah.
That kind of, for me, Empire State Building versus
Yeah,
Space Needle, it's kind of like, okay.
That's right.
There's a little bit of neat history behind this. Other than
Did you
just
say
a
needle
really,
history?
Neil. Is that who built it?
Yeah,
Oh.
James. That's why it's called that. James Needle. That's a joke.
Needle.
I'm just kidding.
James Needle. A lot of needle history.
That's a lot, man. That history is really needle. I'm editing that part out.
You needle to edit that out.
Buskers. How do you feel about buskers in general?
I'm gonna need you to remind me what buskers is
So
again.
buskers are the people who are out on the streets, like
Buskers.
playing music.
Can we start
yeah.
this over again so
Yeah.
I don't sound so stupid? Thank you.
Yeah. So how do you feel about buskers?
I'm pretty into buskers.
You are.
I am.
Yeah.
I feel a little guilty every time I try to stop because I want to just give them all my money.
Really? See, I feel
I
guilty
don't.
because I want to listen, but I don't want to give them any
Well,
money.
that's mostly what I mean.
Also, I generally hate not I don't hate buskers, but I'm just never impressed with them.
Uh-huh.
There's been about maybe like 3 or 4 in my life where I've been impressed with them, and one of them was Friday nights, like on the L train in Williamsburg. There was always this one guy who sang really well and played guitar and was just down there all night.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. But today I feel like we heard some good ones.
That piano man.
See, now that's busking. I can. That's
You can
busking.
get on
I
board with that.
Get on board with exactly. And then just another block away, we had 2 gentlemen
Just finger picking, strumming.
tickling the
Tickling those
nylon.
strings.
Yeah, the
Tickling that
steel and
hair.
nylon strings. See, that's some good stuff. I felt
It
like
is.
it was very nice. I liked the way it added to the ambiance of the entire outing.
What would you think of a combo between the
They
two?
don't get along.
Okay.
No, it's known.
It's
Yeah.
known
Yeah.
on the streets.
Yeah.
On First and Pike.
Yeah, on First and
Let me
Pike.
tell you.
Those
these
people do not
buskers
put
are
up.
not
God.
in it to win it.
Do you think when cops move them from the street, they're making a busk?
Ba-dum-bum.
So after the apple slices and the left bank books, we made our way up to Carrie's new favorite store, which is a map store.
Love me some maps.
I have been into the store quite a bit. I actually have a map from it right up there. We're looking at it in my house, Seattle.
That's a map. It's a nice map.
It was cool because we were previously talking about, you asked me, you're from Alaska, and you said,
Correct.
what were you ever taught in school about Alaska? Almost like as if you're like, I bet you don't know. Like how, you were almost like, how come the rest of the world doesn't, like the rest of the country doesn't know about Alaska?
Well,
But
it wasn't in like a, oh, I bet you don't know kind of way. It was more in a way of being curious from people who are well educated,
Right.
wondering about, well, what is taught in our school system about.
I learned a lot from you about Alaska in the map store.
Let's talk about that.
As you showed me a map of Alaska and showed me where there's a dangerous highway, where
Very
you went camping,
dangerous.
where people live on what they call a hillside, but is actually a gigantic mountain range.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, so you're from Anchorage, you go over to Hope, there's Resurrection Drive, Creek, damn it.
Close.
I saw a TR in my mind, or a CR, and I
It's a
couldn't.
CR.
Yeah.
Resurrection
I
Creek.
do like the idea that on a map of all of Alaska, they would pour.
They put a creek.
yeah.
Not the massive 6 mile river there.
Yeah.
No, Resurrection Creek.
Yeah. Is it actually like a more like
It
a
goes
river?
into Resurrection Bay.
Oh.
So, Resurrection's Bay is kind
Yeah.
of.
They're always
a
bringing
thing.
that place back.
I know. They're resurrecting it all over the place.
One of the things I liked about this is it was really like you and I haven't actually hung out outside of work very much.
No, we haven't. We've made plans to.
We've made plans to a lot, and especially on our own solo one, it's a really easy place to go and have a lot to do and see and talk about, but like still be able to interact and
learn about the other person.
Yeah.
As they're choosing to step into certain stores, you're
And
like,
maps. Yeah.
I would never go in that store, but let's do that.
And that may sound like half a joke, but like it's like if you ask someone to go out on a date and the first thing you do is see a movie. It's like it's always nice to have an outing with friends or family where you have something that can sort of fill the silence, but can also, not to say there was a lot of silence. This now sounds like
Now it sounds like we hate each
Yeah,
other.
exactly.
Like we're being forced
So we
to.
would never
Joe
hang
Tady.
out again, but this was a
Joe Tady forced me in this day. He said he'd pay for me, so I was like, yeah, all right, I'm poor.
yeah, I'll pay for you to get into the market. I was like,
Cool, it's free.
that's like at the Great Wheel. I told Landon or told Tim I would pay for parking because it's after 8 and it's free parking.
You're so kind.
I will always pay for parking after 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the market, while very touristy, is like one of my favorite things of Seattle, and I love it. We actually got to. We even got to see. How do we skip over this? We got to see and hear people throwing the fish.
Oh, my favorite part.
It's classic.
It's classic.
How about a couple TTs? How about a couple TTs?
I mean, so we got all the facets of it. It's a great place.
You know what we didn't go see?
What?
The gum wall.
You know, that's fun. I hate the gum wall.
I think it's really gross. It's very
disgusting.
sticky and gross. I mean, it's kind of impressive how much gum there is.
It is.
Especially because it was just cleaned like a year ago.
It
and
was.
It looks the exact
and the whole idea was
same.
like, we're not going to do the gum wall anymore.
Here it
and
is,
everyone's
back
like,
again.
okay, sure.
You could say it's resurrected.
Yeah. Some sort of bay down there.
It's crazy.
Some sort of creek. No, I don't even like... When I have gone there with friends, I usually let them walk out into it, and I sort of stay in the area. I could see that. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
I already don't like stickers, gum from your mouth sticking to
right,
walls. Oh.
Right down that same alley.
Oh.
Get that one.
On that note, man, what a great day out. Great Tady's day out.
Super great Tady day.
All right, we're getting loopy. Guys, Carrie, thank you so much for being on the show and coming out with me. Guys, thank you for listening. And stay tuned for more episodes and make it a great day.
I just feel like I gotta say this because you said thank you. Yeah, for sure, man. Anytime. This was a really, really great day. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right.
This has been a podcast presented by
Hard to find media.
Subscribe to Hard to Find Media on YouTube.com/Hard to Find Media Network. This shit is free. Share it. Blast it. Fuck it.